So I decided a long time ago that I wanted to make a video talking about some of the struggles that we go through, and I've always been kind of afraid to do it. And I've realized that through all these trials lately that this fear is really nothing. And it's just an emotion that our brain tells us that we're not good enough, or we can't possibly do what we think we can. And it really drives me nuts, because we can do so much more than we think. And recently, as the coronavirus has started, and actually not started, but gone on for months, and then before that, Kobe Bryant died in that tragic plane crash with 8 other people. And when that happened, I started thinking really about life. I remember sitting at my friend's house and just sitting there and taking a step back and thinking, what am I doing here? And when I really stepped back and took a look, I realized that it doesn't matter how much money I have, the size of my house, the skill that I have in a certain area. And Kobe was great at all those things. But what matters is the relationships that we make along the way, and how we go about living out those relationships, and how we treat those people. And I just wanted to speak about a couple things, because throughout my adult life, I've had a lot of struggles. And one of them was depression, severe depression. And I still struggle with it today, but not nearly as badly as I used to. Sorry, I gotta get my coffee. But I went through a dark time, and there was no added thing like corona, or any kind of detrimental thing going on in my life that made it any worse. And so I think it's important to understand that we're not alone, and because this is going on, we don't have to be isolated. We don't have to be afraid. Fear is something that will creep in, but you have a choice to let it, and you have a choice to a certain extent to be depressed. You can make decisions to better your mental health. You can make choices, and unfortunately, one of those choices is not being out and about so much, but you can make a phone call. You can make a decision to go out for a walk, or call your really good friend or a family member or a loved one and just tell them, hey, I'm struggling. Because depression is real. It's one of those things that everybody says that it won't affect me. I'm bigger than that. And then all of a sudden it hits you. One day you wake up and it's not as good as it was the last day. And then the next day you wake up and it's even worse a little bit. And so I just think that we have to understand that that does not define who we are. The thoughts that run through your head, you don't have to have those thoughts define who you are. You don't have to think that the person that deep down you are, those thoughts made that person. No, it's not that way. Depression is crazy. It hurts, it kills, it destroys. And just recently, a friend of mine called me and said that one of his loved ones just took his life. No reasoning that we know of. And it just makes me really think, because for 6 years of my life, I was suicidal every day. And literally I had to take 1 minute, 1 second at a time and say, okay, I survived this second, I survived this minute, on to the next one. And as hard as that was, when I look back, it's completely changed the person that I am today. Do I still struggle with things? Of course. Do I still have issues in certain areas? Of course. Do I still have depressive thoughts? Of course. Am I still suicidal? No. And it took 6 years of pain and seeking out help through different things, different agencies, different friends, different family members. And I'm just trying to tell you that there's hope. Don't let isolation through this thing that we're going through determine your value or your life. And the best thing to do is just reach out. Even though we can't go somewhere necessarily, we can't talk to somebody in person necessarily, there's always help. There's always a way. And you can always find somebody that will listen. I think we get this fear in our head that so-and-so, they don't want to hear my problem. Think about it. When somebody asks you how you're doing, how are you? And you just say, oh, I'm good, and look down a little bit. You're lying your ass off. You're not good. 90% of us, 99% of us, there's struggles. Actually, probably 100%. There's struggles going on that people don't see because we're so afraid to bring it out. We're so afraid to talk. We're so afraid to form a relationship that could be bigger than just joking, than just playing games together, than going to the golf course. What we want is a relationship that we can just bury our guilt and our shame and let it sit there and fester inside of us. And then every decision that we've ever made, every poor decision that we've ever made, every good decision that we've ever made, is just sitting there because we don't talk about it, because we don't communicate what is going on inside of our hearts, inside of our minds, inside of our bodies. And then we find ourselves in a state where it's so darn difficult to get out of, because as much pain as we feel, we still won't talk. And we still won't express the hurt that we feel, because there's no, so-and-so is going to say, oh my goodness, can you believe him? I'm glad I'm not that bad. Well, no, it's not about that. It's not about who's got it worse or who's got it better. It's about community. It's about family. It's about friendships. It's about showing love to somebody through just being there. And I think that, as growing up, I was raised a Christian, and I still identify as a Christian. And I think that that's the main focus of the Bible, is Jesus showed love to everyone. And I didn't expect to go down the Christianity Jesus hole necessarily, but I do believe that love is the answer. And I believe in Christianity, love is what Jesus' whole life was about. And so, as I sit here with my heart pounding out of my chest, because I'm afraid of what people are going to think of this, I just hope that you understand that I think when we really get down to it, love will win. And love will conquer all fear, and love will destroy all depression if we let it, if we have faith in ourselves and others, if we have faith in God, if we have faith in Jesus. And if we really just take a step back and look at the bigger picture, look at the fact that it's not just about me. And sometimes that's hard because we're drowning in our shit, and we're stuck in a place that we never thought we could possibly be in. But once we take a step back and we look at all the other stuff going on, all the other things, all the other people, we can understand that it's much bigger than us. And even in our doubt, and even in our self-pity, and even in our fear, and whatever it is that we may be going through, we can still help somebody. And that's the key right there, is getting out of what we're struggling with and still seeing somebody else's struggle and helping them. And I think that that's what love is. When we are at our lowest, when we are struggling, fighting for our lives, and we still see somebody else, and we don't give up, because we can still help. We don't give up because somebody else can still help us. There's so much that we can do that we don't because we're so afraid. There's so much that we can do that we don't because we think that somebody will look at us differently, look at us poorly. They'll look at us like, who are you to say something like that? Who are you to try and make somebody do something or become something that they're not? It's not doing that. We're not doing that. I think that we have to get past what people think about us, because we're holding back. And people are affected by that, whether we know it or not, whether we think it or not. People are affected by every decision that we make. And I think that the decisions that we make can help somebody who may be hurting so badly that they may be thinking of taking their own life. And that is not the answer. There is always hope. So guys, if you are struggling, if you are feeling the pain, whether it's just through these last couple of months with Corona going on, or if it's a lifetime of hurt or a few years of hurt, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. My point is, reach out. Don't stay in it, because it's not going to help you. It's not going to help somebody else. Think about it. If you had taken your own life, and somebody else down the line, down the road, they needed you, you don't know if you were going to affect that person. You don't know if you were going to affect somebody walking in the mire by an action that you didn't even realize it helped them. Maybe by just opening up a door for them or grabbing a shopping cart for them. You don't know. So please, if you're struggling, reach out. Don't let this virus, once this is all done, don't let the thought of depression, of hurt, of anger, of whatever it is, don't let it affect you to a point where you're willing to give up. Reach out. Much love, guys. I hope you're doing well. Continue to push forward. We're going to get through this. Depression doesn't win. Anxiety doesn't win. For me, Jesus wins. We win through a relationship with God. And we defeat all this crap with each other and in relationship with each other and with love. I hope you're blessed. I hope you enjoy your extra time with your family. If you don't have your family around, reach out to them. Reach out to somebody. Doesn't matter who.